So many benefits of fasting. So many things that we talk about. But one of the most important things that we talk about when we talk about fasting is the cellular cleanup process. That's the detoxing of the body, and that's called autophagy. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight as we get into our show. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, welcome to our show. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to get off of medications, improve their metabolic health, and who want to reverse their diabetes. Hey, glad that you are here. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we're happy that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. Put a Q in front of it because we want to make sure that we get to those as we move into this space. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you are right now, I do see some of our community members out there. We'll get to say hi to you in just a minute. You guys know how we do, though. I was going to say you know how we do. We're going to take a look at our reports. And just as I looked over, my report is not up. So let's get it up there. Let's see. There we go. So, as you know, I've got my monitors that we're going to be taking a look at here in just a minute, just off to the side. And I've got a few other things down here that we're going to talk about. And then right down below, that is my Dexcom Clarity report. So we'll take a look at that here in just a little while and see what's been going on since this last fasting check-in. If you've not already done so, go ahead and make sure you are catching up on our Dwain Woode MD Live. This past week, we refined our COPE model. If you don't know what COPE model stands for, it is the thing that we use to help us through those challenging times during our fast, and actually even during times when we're having some challenges in terms of making decisions for our health. The COPE model is can be applied to lots of different things. We're applying it here to our fasting, to our metabolic health, to our reversing our diabetes. It's a model that we've come up with, that we've actually extracted some things. There is a COPE model that's out there, but we've kind of specified it to our sphere, if you will. And so make sure you go ahead and watch that. The last two episodes, we're kind of dealing with the COPE model, introducing it and then refining it in this last show that we did. Make sure you get out there. All right, so let's hop over. Let's take a look and let's say hello to some of our community members. And right now, I do see Steve out there. I see Pamela out there. The way I've got my stuff set up tonight, I don't have the ability to bring those comments on the screen, but I do see you, and we'll just hop over and we'll say hello to you guys as we see them. Okay. If you saw my stream last night, we did a test stream where we were working some things out. So glad that you are here. Glad that you are hanging out with us. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. Let's take a look at blood sugars, and you'll see there on the screen that is my my Libre. That's my Libre 3, and it's right now saying that my blood sugar is 68. If you look down at the bottom in that green area, not all the way down at the bottom with the checkered green, but the little block of green, that is blood sugars ranging anywhere from 70, which is the bottom dashed line, to about 150, which is what I set my top, my high to. And you'll see that for most of the day, we've been kind of hanging below 100 and actually going lower and lower as we got through the day. And then occasionally, sometimes we dip below 70. And then, of course, now 70, dipped below 70, and we're at 68.9. If I go over to my Libre, or sorry, my Dexcom, right now my Dexcom is saying 83. And my Dexcom actually went out earlier today, probably right around 12:45 this afternoon. And I didn't put a new one on until about 9 o'clock, so just right before we just right before we came on. So 75 is where it started, and then of course now 83. And then for the morning, we were kind of hanging in the 70s and 80s. Okay, 70s and 80s. We'll come up. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. Let's hop over and take a look at some of my devices that I've got here. And so what I have set up is, you normally know that I have the Keto Mojo, which gives me glucose and ketones. Those are the strips there. I've got my contour strip, and one that I have offside that I haven't brought up here. This is the One Touch VarioFlex. The One Touch VarioFlex, which is another meter. We're not going to use this one today. Keep doing these, but I also brought. Let me move these out of the way. So I brought a couple of other things here. So this is the Lancet that I've been using. This is a single-use Lancet. This one, and of course these are single-use as well. Well, they don't have to be. They're designed to be single-use, but they basically go into a lancing device like this. And I think we did a show where we kind of went on that, but I'll go ahead and do that again. So basically, this part comes off. You twist it off. The lancet goes into the lancing device. And this one is actually not designed for this one, but it goes in there. You screw off the top and then you cover it. Once it's covered, and I'm going to take this out so we can demo it. Once it's covered, then you hit the button and that deploys it. I'm going to go ahead and click it so you can hear it. So when I press the button, the green button, you'll hear, right? You heard that? So let me reset it. Right? So that click is what you would hear when it deploys the Lancet, right? This one is similar to the other one. So basically, you would put a Lancet in, and actually there's one in there. You put the Lancet in here. It resets. You turn the top on, and let's come here. And when I press it, you should hear that click that comes off. Okay, so they all basically work in a similar way. Now this one. Yeah, this one. This is an interesting one because it has, I think this one has what, 5 Lancets that are in here, that are in this device, and this goes into a lancing device. And basically, when you deploy it, a Lancet comes up. You get a finger stick, and then it turns, but there are more in there. I think there are 5 in this one, if I recall properly. Yeah. Anyway, so those are some of the ones that we have. So let's go ahead and drop back over and take a look at our Keto Mojo and our contour. Okay. So let's get a contour strip out. And for those of you who are out there, you saw, well, we're in the middle of our 72-hour fast. Well, not quite middle. We're a little further in the middle because I'm now 48 plus 3. What's that? 52 hours into this week's fast. I'm going to go ahead and open up this ketone strip as well, because the last couple of times I had to stick myself a couple of times, but we don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, just a simple one, and go ahead and get a nice little poke. And I felt that one, so I'm hoping I get some good blood. Okay, there we are. Get that started. Get this one started. And then I need to get another drop because we're going to use, so 69 is what the Keto Mojo says, and the contour says 77. If you think you know what my ketones are going to be after 52 hours, go ahead and drop that into the chat. Let's get this in here and get that started. Okay, so there we are. So that's running, and of course, As always, I'm not going to let you see what it is because I'm going to make you guess. So if you think you know what it is, go ahead and pop that in the chat. All right, and I'm going to move it out because when I go back to that scene, I don't want you to see it prematurely. All right, so what we're talking about tonight is autophagy. And as always, let's give a little background. So in this space, we have learned a lot of tools. And the reason that we're learning the tools is because we're working on reversing diabetes. Okay, that is the ultimate thing that we're doing. We're working on reversing diabetes. We're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse diabetes. Now, diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease. That means that it has components of a lot of the other metabolic diseases that we'll run into, or a lot of them are actually folded into diabetes. So if we can treat diabetes, then we can affect those as well. So what are some of those? Well, they are the typical things that we've talked about when we talked about chronic diseases. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, heart disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, even some cancers, obesity, metabolic syndrome. All of those are metabolic diseases, and they are treated in similar ways as diabetes. So if we can find a way to treat diabetes, the ultimate metabolic disease, then we can take some of those same things and we can apply them to the treatment of these other metabolic diseases. And so that is what we are talking about. And one of the tools that we've learned, and let me go back to that tool list. One of the tools that we've learned is the tool of fasting. Why is fasting such a powerful tool? This goes back to our concept of reversing diabetes. We reverse diabetes by decreasing insulin, we suppress the appetite, and we reduce sugar. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. And fasting hits all of those pillars. When we're not eating, of course, we're not taking anything in, so we've reduced the sugar. When we reduce the sugar, the body doesn't have to produce as much insulin, and we don't have to take as much insulin. And if that's the case, remember, insulin stimulates the appetite. So if we reduced our insulin, reduced our sugar, then we are reducing or decreasing insulin. So all three pillars are hit by fasting. And so that's the beauty of fasting. And so we are working on learning how to fast successfully. We've gone through several shows where we talked about fasting, and tomorrow we'll do a review of fasting as we do at the end of the week. We'll go through fasting in its entirety, talking about different phases and how to prepare and how to break the fast and so forth. But tonight we want to talk about one of the special things that happens during fasting, and that is autophagy. That's autophagy. So what is autophagy? Here we are. All right, so we're talking about autophagy. And autophagy is a detoxification. Now, a lot of people talk about detoxification, particularly as we get into the new year, the beginning of the month. People are making changes in their lives. They're becoming more healthy. They're thinking more about their metabolic disease. They're thinking more about their weight. They want to put themselves in a better wellness space. And so everybody talks about detoxification. So there are detoxification protocols. There are detoxification diets. There are detoxification plans. There are apps that you can use. All of this with the idea that if we can somehow take toxins out of the body, then that sets the body up in a space to being healthier and to do for itself some of the things that it currently can't. So if we can detoxify the body, then some of our enzymes, our muscles, our organs, our glands work better. So that's the whole idea behind detox, right? So we're taking out toxins that may be preventing the body from working the way it should work. And so that's the idea behind detoxification. And autophagy is a way of detoxifying. Actually, it is the body's natural way of detoxifying itself. Right? So, what is autophagy? Autophagy simply means self eating. Right? So, the body is eating itself, it's cleaning, it's taking out damaged cells, it's regenerating newer cells, it's getting those old cells and creating healthier cells. It's kind of like at your home, you're recycling and you take old stuff, right? You put it in the recycling bin. They pick it up, they take it away, and then it comes back as something new. I've got a pair of tennis shoes that I went and I bought, and I'm in the store and I'm going around and I found some that I really like, and I picked it up and was taking it up, and then I looked down and it says, I think it was 30%, I believe, made from recycled material. So autophagy. Right? So the function of autophagy is to remove unnecessary or dysfunctional components that are within the cell, and it is the process of acting as an internal recycling system. Okay? That's the recycling system. So autophagy. All right. So I'm going to put a pin here, all right, because you guys didn't remind me. And we're going to jump over and we're going to do a check-in here really quickly. So check-in. So I'm 52 hours into fasting. I want to talk about how I'm doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, I'm actually feeling better than I did yesterday when I did my check-in because I got some rest. After we finished our check-in, I went to sleep, right? I did wake up early this morning because I went walking, but I'm feeling not as drained as I did yesterday because I did get some rest. Things that people will typically talk about is feeling drained, feeling as though they are weak and tired, lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, feeling palpitations like the heart's racing or skipping a beat. None of those things I'm not feeling. Yesterday I was feeling pretty fatigued, and I got some rest and I'm feeling better. I'm not totally better, but maybe 90%. Okay. So physically. Mentally, I'm feeling clear because I got some sleep. I wasn't feeling bad yesterday in terms of my mentation. I wasn't feeling foggy or like I was in a bubble or in a daze, but I could tell, right, that I was tired. And so because I got rest, my mentation, my thought process is a lot clearer today, this evening, than it was last night when I when I was here. Okay. And then emotionally, feeling a little down. We were supposed to go on a trip this weekend, but we're having some bad weather, and so the function was canceled. So we've had a bunch of folks that were coming together, and we're gonna have some fun. But because of the weather, that was canceled. We just got the text a little while ago, and so I'm feeling a little down. I'm glad that we're being safe, but I was still looking forward to it. It's the first event of the year. Remember, we went camping back in August. It was every 5 years we have this big camping trip, and this was the first meeting of the new season of the year, right? So I was excited to meet everybody. I'm one of the counselors for the program, and so the people who are new, they're in my class. So I was excited to get to know them, and anyway, but it'll be fine. All right, so that's how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. And as you're fasting, as you're putting yourself in a better metabolic state, as you're thinking about being healthier, you want to continue to be checking in with yourself. How am I doing physically, mentally, and emotionally? Not just in fasting, but in all the things that we're doing. As we're talking about being mindful in our eating, as we're talking about emotional intelligence, as we talk about creating a meal, and what medications should I be on? What medication should I stop? All of those things, you want to make sure that you're checking in with yourself, right, to see where you are. Awesome. All right. And I am once again having some allergy issues, so you will see me kind of dabbing. All right. So autophagy. So that's what autophagy is. It is the cellular cleanup process. It is removing unnecessary dysfunctional cells or components inside the cells and acting as an internal recycling system. So, how does autophagy work? Well, one, we detect damage or unnecessary cell components. So, the body has a way of telling when something is damaged or unnecessary. Okay. Now, this is an interesting, important one. Let me say that because it has implications for identifying damaged cells. Some cells that are damaged can be cancer cells, for example, right? Some cells that are damaged can be nerve cells, for instance, like in neuropathy. And we'll come and see some things here in a minute. Other types of cells that can be damaged are cells involved in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Okay, so first we detect damaged or unnecessary cells. Then we form autophagosomes. These are, I kind of think of these kind of like Pac-Man. You remember the old days? And Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man, they would come and they'd eat up the monsters and they eat up the little balls, the little pellets. I don't know, what were the pellets? Were those energy pellets? Anyway, so they gobble them up. So I think of phagosomes like the body's Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. And they're kind of going around the blood, going around the body, and they are gobbling up things that shouldn't be there. All right, so first we detect them, and then we go out and we gobble them up with these autophagosomes, these little Pac-Man looking things. And then what happens is the phagosomes, they surround the damaged tissue, and then they fuse with them, and then they digest them. So they find one. Let me come over here. They find one, and they come around it, they fuse with it, and then gobble, right, gobble it up. I think of kind of like Cookie Monster. All right. So that's so detection, formation of a phagosome, fusion with the lysosome, and they digest it, and then they break down that thing, that cellular component, that material, that protein, whatever it is, and then they send it off to be converted into energy and to repair the body. Right. So that's how autophagy works. So what are key functions of autophagy? Well, they come from the function, right? So cleanup, it would be one, removing damaged proteins and organelles. So organelles are some of those mini micro organs, if you will, or components within the body that does the work. So when we think about the liver, we think about the liver as this thing, but the liver doesn't do anything. It is the organelles that are in the liver that make up the cells that are in the liver that are actually doing the work. So when you look at a liver, that liver can't really do anything. Now, if you zoom in, you'll find that within the liver there are cells, and within those cells are organelles, and those are the guys and gals that are doing the work. Okay, so organelles. So cellular cleanup. Number two, it is a defense mechanism. All right, so autophagy helps the cell survive during stress, during times of starvation, during times of oxidative stress. So when there are things in the body that are stressing the body, that are causing damage, toxins, the environment, the food that we eat, autophagy is that process that's there to defend against all those things. So a part of a cell is damaged. Autophagy goes, it finds damaged, unused cells, it sends them off for recycling, and it comes back and it can patch that up. A part of the body is damaged. Autophagy goes, finds some. I think of this kind of like. Oh, here's a perfect one. I just thought about this, by the way, just this moment. So you remember Wreck-It Ralph? Is it Wreck-It or Wreck-'em Ralph? All right. So Ralph was the guy who fixed. Well, no. So what was the guy in the movie? He had the hammer. Oh, what was his name? If you're out there and you remember, go ahead and drop that in. What was the guy's name? Anyway, so something would get broken and he would fix it. Mr. Fix It. Mr. Fix It, I think is what he's called. Right? So think of autophagy in that way in this sense. So something gets broken, autophagy goes and finds a component and fixes it. Something is damaged, autophagy goes find something and fix it. Something gets broken, autophagy goes and it finds that stuff, it takes it up, breaks it up, recycles it, sends it off, and replenishes or replaces that thing with new tissue or new cells or new components. And then autophagy rejuvenates, right? So it promotes the formation of new, healthier cells, right? Going along with what we just said about defense. So these are key functions of autophagy. And it's beautiful, right? Because we are in the process of repairing. So what triggers autophagy? Well, you know what I'm going to say, right? One of the first things is fasting. So autophagy increases when energy intake is low. Because the body says, I can't shut down. I've got to keep me alive. And so it goes out and it tries to find, of course, energy. So ketones, right? So it's breaking down fat. But now the body says to itself, well, if my energy level is low, I don't need to keep all that stuff out there that's not working, that's damaged, that's broken, because that stuff also is taking up energy. Right? So think about it. It's almost like having, having a light bulb in your house that's short. Right? It takes energy to light that light bulb or put energy in the light bulb, but it just kind of flickers. It's not really doing anything. So autophagy says there's no point in me supplying energy for that because it's already damaged, it's not working, it's not sufficing, it's not doing anything for me. And because my energy levels are low because I'm fasting, I need energy anyway. So let me go find that. Let me break it down. Let me recycle it. Let me create something new. So fasting causes autophagy to be triggered. Exercise causes autophagy to be triggered, especially in muscle cells. So when you're exercising, your body's burning calories, burning energy, and that process says to autophagy or says to the rest of the body, hey, we're burning up calories. Let me go find some of that stuff that's not being used, the damaged stuff, the stuff that's not working, and let me recycle it. Oxidative stress and hypoxia, so low oxygenation, will cause autophagy to be stimulated as well. When we're getting damage from toxins, damage from lights, like I'm sitting under these lights, and they probably are causing some damage to skin. All of those oxidative stresses will stimulate autophagy. Because autophagy says, hey, my skin is getting damaged because of the sun. My skin is getting damaged because of that whatever we're putting on our skin. My skin is getting damaged, or my GI tract is getting damaged because of the food that we're eating. So let me go in there and let me begin cleaning up autophagy. And then nutrient deprivation, right? So which goes along with kind of the low energy, glucose or amino acids. When those are low, autophagy comes out and autophagy gets to work and does what it does. So what are some stages of fasting and how autophagy is involved? Right? And so we're going to do a review of fasting tomorrow, and we'll go walk through each of the steps. But autophagy during the first 12 to 16 hours, when glycogen stores begin to go down, autophagy begins. 12 to 16 hours. 16 to 24 hours, then autophagy ramps up as the body starts to use fat for energy, because we've had to switch from using glycogen and carbs, and now I'm using fat. So the body says I had to switch. I had to go find additional sources. So this is a great time for me now to go up and find all the things in the system that aren't serving me, that are damaged, that are not working, that are not that important right now. Let me go find those and recycle them so I can begin building, so I can actually use those for something else. So that's your 16 to 24. And then 24 to 48 hours, and so we just passed 48 hours, we're at 52 now, then deep autophagy is going on in organs like the liver and the brain. Yeah. So now we're getting big benefits. Right? So now we're seeing cleanup of the brain that has implications for neurodegenerative diseases, that have implications for inflammation in the liver, that has implications for immunity, that has implications for so many different things. And then beyond 48 hours, then we get extensive cellular cleanup. So detoxification and all the things that we talk about in terms of autophagy. Autophagy is now in full force in the body. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. All right, so autophagy and disease prevention. Autophagy and disease prevention. Now, let me pop over here and say a couple of things. We see improvement in metabolic disease regardless of the type of fast that you do. And we've done a show where we went through all the fasts, the different types of fasts, the different fasts and what they do in different diseases, right? So we see benefit in lots of the disease processes for the different fasts, whether you're doing a 16 and 8, alternate day fasting, 1 meal a day, 5 and 2, extended fasting beyond 24 hours, 72 hours, all of those we see benefit. So if you are doing a 16-8, don't think that you're not getting benefit. Sometimes people will say to me, oh, I'm not getting anything because I'm only doing a 16 and 8, so I'm not going to fast. No. You're getting benefit. Right? You're getting benefit from fat burning. You're getting benefit from insulin resistance improvement. You're getting benefit from improved blood sugar. You're getting benefit from the pillars, right? So decreasing insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. All of those things are giving you benefit. So autophagy and disease prevention. So number one, we want to talk about neurodegenerative diseases. So autophagy, neurodegenerative diseases are things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So remember I said to you, autophagy goes out and it clears damaged, unused cells. It also does the same thing for proteins and other substances. It doesn't have to necessarily be a full cell. But within neurodegenerative diseases, there are some damaged proteins that we believe are responsible for the diseases. And autophagy, during that process, it goes out and it cleans those up. It recycles them. It gets rid of them and sets us up for improvement in neurodegenerative diseases. So that's how autophagy, that's how fasting can improve those disease processes. Because fasting stimulates autophagy. Autophagy goes out and autophagy cleans up these damaged proteins. And those proteins, we said, are responsible for the disease. How about heart disease? So autophagy promotes heart health by removing damaged mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the body. If you didn't have mitochondria, you couldn't survive. Mitochondria is where sugar, glucose, goes in, and out the other side comes out energy. Right? Most people think that the sugar itself is the energy. Well, the sugar has to be converted into energy. It's kind of like gas. You put gas in the car, and the engine takes the gas, right, and it converts it to a form. Well, because the gas can't really do anything, but the gas has to be burned, and as the gas burns, it creates energy, and when it creates energy, then we create mechanical energy, and the mechanical energy now propels the car forward. Does that make sense? So gas gets converted to one form, and that form gets converted to mechanical energy, and so your car goes. So the mitochondria are the things that do that. And so when the damaged mitochondria are removed, then the energy process is more efficient, and so the heart gets better. Cancers, another one. Cancers. So the body, through autophagy, eliminates precancerous cells and slows tumor growth. Remember, we said that the body has to identify the cells, and then autophagy goes up and it gobbles them up. Well, if I see a precancerous cell and I can identify it, it's marked, it's flagged as damaged. And so autophagy, the process goes out and it grabs it, gobbles it up, destroys it, and converts it into something else. So that's how we get improvement in cancers, and we get slowing of tumor growth, because we're gobbling up those damaged cells that can turn into a cancer or cause the cancer to grow. And then type 2 diabetes, autophagy improves insulin sensitivity and regulates blood sugar. It improves insulin sensitivity. Now, we're going to come back, we're going to do a whole show where we probably talk about that mechanism and the process that's going on there. We're still learning a lot about it, by the way. Right? A lot of autophagy, and autophagy is a relatively new concept. There, we got someone got a Nobel Prize for this just a few years ago. So relatively new concept. Okay, so autophagy, disease process, disease prevention. So autophagy also can help promote longevity. So autophagy slows the aging process by reducing cellular damage. So once again, those cells that are being damaged, those things that are being damaged, autophagy is slowing it down because it's repairing those. Right? So we get a hole here, we patch it. We get a hole there, we patch it. We get a hole there, we patch it. It also promotes regeneration of healthy cells. Right? So cells that are damaged, it fixes them or recycles them. And then the healthy cells, it says, hey, come on, let's get more of you. Right? And it helps prevent age-related diseases by cleaning out dysfunctional components. Amazing. So how do we boost autophagy? We've talked about it, right? We fast, like we're doing. So autophagy is in full swing. We exercise. We reduce our carbs. And one of the things that also stimulates it is heat and cold, like saunas, hot tubs. Those can also stimulate autophagy. So autophagy is a powerful natural detox repair process in the body. Fasting, exercise, healthy diet can boost autophagy and help with longevity. And the idea is that autophagy really is a side effect of the process we're doing to improve our metabolic health. I want you to notice that, right? So we're improving our health, and as a process of that, as a part of that, autophagy comes along. It's kind of like the weight loss that we see when we're improving our metabolic health with fasting. The weight loss is a side effect. It just is it's a part of what's coming. So the question for you, are you ready to start? Right? So you want to start your journey with mindful fasting and supporting your body in its natural repair process. That's the process of autophagy. All right. So let's see. So Jennifer, hey. So let's see who we got. We got, of course, Steve, we said hello to. Pamela, hello. And we've got Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer saying howdy. Steve, hello, ladies. She said your ketones are always close to mine. I'm at 2.2, so I'm saying yours going to be 2.5. So Steve is answering the question, what do you think my ketones are going to be? All right, what do you think my ketones are going to be? So let's go ahead and, well, before we go to ketones, what I want to do is I want to hop over and take a look at blood sugar and on my report. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at my report. And that's my Dexcom Clarity that you see right down below. And then we'll come over here to look at this guy in just a minute. So let me go ahead and get my mouse turned on. Okay, and I like this view. There we go. And so you'll see there my average blood sugar 129. Here is, I mean, in target 90% of the time, target being 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator is 6.4. So if I were to get an A1C based on these numbers that the report is showing, my A1C would approximate 6.5. So glucose management indicator is a calculated estimate of what the A1C should be. If I go to look at my 90-day average, it's probably going to be 130 or something like that. 135. In target 85% of the time. 70 to 180 is my target. And my A1C or glucose management indicator is 6.5. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at my daily graphs. And so we've been over 52, almost 53 hours. So let's go back. So we started fasting, right? Let's see, where are we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we started fasting right in here with a blood sugar of 162 blood sugar. And then 48 hours later, actually, I'm gonna draw a line from here. Well, I thought I was gonna draw a line. Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, so 24 hours later, 116 is what the blood sugar is. And then, of course, 24 hours after that would have been right in here. But because I didn't have the sensor on, I don't know what that number is. But now our blood sugars are, my blood sugar is 78 to 82. And right now on the screen, let me pop that up. You'll see there that it says is 89. Okay, so 89. So let's hop over and let's take a look. And what do you think my ketones are gonna be? What do you think my ketones are gonna be? So I got my Keto Mojo. So when we checked in yesterday, my glucose was 90, and at 27-ish hours, my ketones were 0.4. And so I was talking about this in our community meetup tonight with one of our community members, and we were kind of explaining ketones. And in fact, if you're out there, well, I know you're out there. This talk, the reason I came later in my live, because we talked about me going live earlier, was I wanted to change my discussion and talk about autophagy, because you asked about that, by the way, in the community meetup tonight. So this is a shout out to you, and just a discussion that I wanted to have, because I'm sure everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people have the same types of questions. All right. So anyway, so that's my that's what my ketones were last night. Let's go ahead and let's see what they are now. So let's go ahead and get this strip out and turn on the meter. And it should begin syncing there in just a minute. If it doesn't, we'll hit the button. Yeah, let's go ahead and get it synced. And so for those of you who are out there on Instagram, thank you for joining us as well. I see several of you out there. Really appreciate you guys. And so let's see, what do you think? So Steve said, let me go back and see what Steve says. Steve said 2.5. And let's see. Drum roll, please. So 69 blood sugar and 1.1. Ah, so Steve, wow, you're right. We're farther away from each other than normal. Okay. So 69 blood sugar and then ketones 1.1. Let's take a look at the graph, and you'll see there as my blood sugars. Let's take a look at the left part of the graph. So the turquoise line that's ketones. Oh, let me go over here. Oh, yeah. So the turquoise line, those are ketones, and the tan line, that is blood sugar. So as ketones have gone down, as I'm eating, well, let me back up. So as I've eaten, when I broke my fast last week, I ate. As I ate, the blood sugars went up. When blood sugars go up, insulin also has to go up because the body has to produce insulin to treat the sugar. Insulin and ketones can't be in the same space, so by virtue of that, the ketones begin going down. So that's why you see as the tan line went up, the turquoise line, dashed line went down. And then as I started fasting on the right part of the graph, as I started fasting, blood sugars are going down. If blood sugars are going down, so is insulin. And when insulin begins going down, then the ketones begin to rise. Okay? And so that's what you'll see there. So talking about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis. And then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So if we were talking about ketones and we're talking about staying in ketosis, fat burning, transitioning from glucose to ketones for energy, then we're talking about having ketones at least 0.5 or higher. Because then we know that you have ketones in your body. Now, one of the points I was making in our community meetup tonight was that even if you are not in a ketogenic diet, even if you are not trying to maintain that, probably everybody on the planet at some point does have ketones. Because ketones simply mean that your body, for a period, was not able to burn carbohydrates, so it started burning fat. And that happens to a lot of us when we sleep. Right? You go to sleep, you haven't been eating, depending on how long prior to sleeping you didn't eat, and then how long you slept, you can wake up with ketones in the morning. Okay? But if we're trying to maintain ketosis, then we want ketones to be at least 0.5. Now, if we go back, and this is a perfect example, so I was fasting yesterday, and I had been fasting for 27 hours when I got my blood sugar, or when I checked my ketones, and they were only 0.4. I had ketones, but they were not in the nutritional ketosis range. So if we want to continue maintaining that fat burning, then we want them at least 0.5 or higher. Yep. All right, cool. All right, let's see, what else? So we talked about our meter, we talked about our reports. If you guys have questions, go ahead and pop those in so we can get to those. Would love to answer them. So as I've been talking to folks over the last year, and we're promoting the New Year, New You process, promoting the New Year, New You plan, the path. One of the things that continually comes up is people who have doubts about whether they can be metabolically healthy. They have doubts about whether they can improve their blood sugar, improve their health, improve their A1C, improve their weight, because they've had so much in the past that has happened, that they've tried, that didn't work. They've had damage. They've made choices in the past that caused some damage within their body, caused some disease processes, and now they've almost thrown their hands up and said, well, I guess this is what it is. And for you who's watching, if you're in that space, and even for you who may not be in that space, but you're thinking that, oh my goodness, look at the damage that I've done to myself. Probably you have. But I want to convince you that even though that's the case, you still have unlimited ability to make change. The future is not written yet. The past is the past. We can make choices here, right now, that set ourselves up for success in the future. That's what we do. Because you have unlimited ability to chart your destiny, to chart your metabolic health, to improve your metabolic disease, to reverse your diabetes. And here we do that with the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the podcast. We educate with the blog. We educate with the show. All of that is with the intention of creating a mindset shift, creating or changing your view, changing your perspective, changing the way that you're looking at things. We want a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset, that I can be better, and that takes education. We empower with the tools that we learn, the concepts, the HEAT model, the COPE model and mechanism, emotional intelligence, mindful eating, the creating a new type of meal plan. All of those are tools that we're using for empowerment. When you put those into practice, when you practice them, when you use them, you are empowering yourself to make changes and to set yourself up for success based on what you learned. And then we encourage with the community that you are part of, community that you are helping to build, the community that you enrich every time you come and share your story. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And remember, as we are in the space of doing and moving and improving and growing and getting better, one of the big things that we've got to take care of is our food. Food as medicine. If we can manage food, then we set ourselves up for success. And there are triggers, things that will push us off of our eating plan, things that will push us in a direction that we don't want to go. We've made a decision that we're not going to eat a certain thing, or we're going to eat a certain way. And these triggers will push us away from that. And it's given by the HEAT model. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. The habits that we formed. Not that we're hungry, but we have these routines that we've gotten into. We have these social cues. Everybody gets up and they're going to lunch, and we're not hungry, but we're going to eat anyway because that's what we do at lunch. We go to the movies and we eat popcorn. You're going to meet a friend to talk, to sit, to hang out. And what do? We have coffee, we have tea, we have juice, we have a soda, we have a muffin, we have a bagel with cream cheese. I'm from New York. Sorry. Right? So we eat not because we're hungry, but we eat because of habit. We also eat because of emotions. When emotions get high, when your emotions become high enough, it's kind of like going on a roller coaster. When that car gets to the top, it doesn't matter what you do up there. You can yell, you can scream, you can jump, you can shout, you can hold on, but that car is coming back down on the other side. And when our emotions get high enough, when they get strong enough, it will plow through any of the decisions you've made about what you're going to eat. So our task there is to manage those emotions on this side of the roller coaster before it gets to the top. One of the things that we've done, if you've not looked at the COPE model, C-O-P-E, C-O-P-E, actually could be C-C-O-P-P-E, but COPE model. How do you cope? Are you coping or are you avoiding? Are you coping or are you avoiding? We're clarifying. That's what COPE stands for. We're clarifying. What is going on? I'm not hungry, so what is happening? What triggered me? What's happening in my mind right now? We're observing. Where do I feel it in my body? We went through an exercise on our show this past week where we walked through the body scanning to see where we're feeling those emotions. We name the emotion. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm lonely. I'm tired. I'm bored. I'm depressed. We name it. We clarify. We observe. We pause. We process it, and we pick another way of dealing with it other than the food or other than the buffering behavior. Let me say it that way. For a lot of us, food is a buffering behavior. And then we execute. We clarify, we observe, we pause, process, pick a different way, and then we execute it. And then we say, hey, did it work? We evaluate. That's the other E. Okay? And then access. When things are just around us, we eat because they're just around us. I cannot bring nuts, almonds, cashews in here. All right, I was talking to one of our community members yesterday, and I was telling him, yeah, if I bring a can in here, guess what? The entire can is going to be gone. So I know myself, so I don't bring it around. We had a show where we talked about cleaning up your environment, cleaning up your home, cleaning up your job, cleaning up your community with the things around you that will trigger you. And then we eat because of taste, the bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat. That's what the food manufacturers want. They don't want you to just eat one. They want you to eat more and come back for more and more and more. And that bliss point, that food that we're chasing, it is what food does for us. It's not the food. It's actually not even the taste. It's the memory that it brings back to us of that time we went to that place and we ate that thing and we felt that way. Or the calm that we think it brings. Or the relief that we think eating the chocolate gives us. Lowers the cortisol level. It tastes so good. Oh, it puts us in that space. So we eat because of habits, emotions, access, and taste. And then, of course, as we've been talking about, the pillars for reversing diabetes, we decrease insulin, we suppress our appetite, and we reduce sugar. We decrease our insulin, we suppress the appetite, and we reduce sugar. And fasting is a wonderful way, a powerful tool that hits all three of those pillars. And then when you show up, y'all, when you show up, make sure that you are getting involved, that you are doing the challenges. Every month we have a new challenge. Every month we're working on implementing the things that we're learning. We're learning tools on how to do that. Don't just let these be things on the shelf, but get in there, jump in, and begin working on the tools. Begin doing the challenges. And then claim your seat when you come. Say, hey, I'm here. I'm fasting. Hey, I'm having success. Hey, I've lost weight. Hey, my A1C is better. Hey, I'm getting off of medication. Hey, I'm losing weight. Did I say lose weight again? Okay, I said that twice. But you get the idea. Because when we hear from you, when we see your successes, then we know we can do it. When we see your struggles, we can come around, we can rally around you, we can give you support, and you know that you're not alone, and we also know that we're not alone. And then invite a friend. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now that are struggling with diabetes or pre-diabetes. You can be a voice of change. You can be a voice of change that changes the trajectory of your family, your friends, your community, your church. Say, hey, there's a place where we can go and we can get information on how to improve our metabolic health. Let's go do this together. Don't just send them to the channel. Come alongside them. Be a mentor. The new year, new you process. If you've been following, this is the process that I want you to begin walking people through. The shows, the process is on the channel. It's in the playlist, How to Reverse Diabetes. Say, hey, let's go watch this together. Let's work with this together. We're going to be putting that together in another way, probably a workbook that you can walk through with those processes. But it's there. Invite them. Come with them. And let's do it together. Awesome. All right. So I'm always happy. I think I say that all the time. I'm always happy when I'm here, being able to hang out with you guys. Let's see. Jennifer says, good night. Steve said, thank you for covering autophagy. I've been reading about this. Thank you for stopping by. And all of you who are out there on Instagram, thank you for being here. Hey, I see some of my people. Some of my family members are out there too. So thank you guys for coming through. I got to get over there to hang out with you. I was talking to Ez. But Yeah, I got to get over and hang out with you guys. So, always glad that I'm here. Always glad that I could spend time with you. We're going to be doing our check in tomorrow where we walk through fasting. You don't want to miss that. We're talking about how to prepare, how to get through a fast, and how to break a fast successfully. And we'll go through what's going on in your body, how your body changes during the different phases of fasting. You want to be in the place for that tomorrow. And then on Saturday night, don't forget, we're going through videos from the vault where we're looking back at some of those landmark videos that we've done over the course of the channel. And then on Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central, we'll be doing This Week in Review. For those of you, if you've got family members, people in your community that have missed the shows as we've gone through the week, then we do that on Sunday morning with a recast and with some commentary in between, with some introduction and some comments about getting into the show. Make sure that you join us. And then always, on Monday, 7 p.m. Central, right here, we'll be doing Dwain Woode MD Live. You want to be sure that you are joining us. As I always say, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. Good night, everybody.